On today's episode of From the Shoebox, let's talk about the instructions to build Lego sets. The instruction manuals today are very well organized, providing detailed instructions on how to build the set, clearly showing exactly what parts are needed for each step of the build, and sometimes explicitly pointing out where a piece needs to go. As a result, the instruction manuals can start to become rather lengthy and large. Lego will sometimes break them up into multiple books, but sometimes they'll just throw them into a single manual worthy of War and Peace. But when I was a kid, completely different story. It was like getting the Cliff Notes version of today's instruction manuals. Not only were there fewer steps in an instruction book, they also didn't tell you which pieces you needed for that step. Remember the magazine highlights? And they would have the page where you would spot the differences in the two nearly identical images? That's what building a Lego set was like. You would have to look back and forth and see what new pieces were now on the image. And they almost never rotated the image, so some pieces would be partially or completely obscured, and you would have to make assumptions that the set was symmetrical. So building a Lego set when I was a kid seems like it was a lot more difficult than now. Maybe it helped my observation skills, attention to detail, and critical thinking. Who knows? And it really doesn't matter because it was still a lot of fun. Now, I still have a number of the original instruction books for my old sets. And as you can see, I use them a lot. They are barely held together with tape, if they're held together at all. And there are a lot of ripped edges and missing steps. I still even have some of the pages from the old Lego catalogs that sometimes accompany the sets, so you can see what else was new at that time. Thankfully, Lego has evolved over time how they handle the instructions, and I much prefer how they currently print the instructions, with the exception of that short-lived experiment in printing the manuals with a black background. Not sure why Lego thought that was a good idea. Anyway, the way instructions are handled now has helped to reduce the tedious portions of building, of trying to guess what has to be done in the next step, and focus on the fun of seeing your set come together. Now, if only Lego could come up with a way of helping you to find that light gray 1x2 plate you can't seem to find in your pile of pieces to finish step 44. That's it for now. See you next time.